Yeah, okay. Well, welcome everybody. Thank you very much for joining us. Njilefac Atem from Cameroon is hosting our workshop today. And without any further ado, I will pass you over to Njilefac. Welcome.
Okay. Thanks everyone for joining. So our session of special educational needs, its importance in the classroom, and some strategies to support students with additional needs. For today, our objectives will tie on to understand what special educational need means for teachers, to explore why special educational need is important in the classroom, and to consider some strategies to support students with educational needs. First objective for today, what does special educational need means for us teachers? For teachers, it might refer to the students who require additional or different support in their education due to specific learning difficulties, disabilities, or other challenges. Children with special educational need have learning difficulties or disabilities that make it harder for them to learn than most children of same age. Special educational need instructions that is specifically designed to meet the unique needs of a child with. This means education that is individually developed to address a specific child's need that results from his or her disability. SMART, that means specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. With this, I would like to add that there's an overlap between special educational need and disabilities. Not all disability children need support from special educational need, but most of the special educational need support, but not all disability children need SEN. For example, a child can be disabled, maybe physically, fracture, I don't know, like using a wheelchair to move, doesn't make the child an SEN, needing an SEN support. The child is just merely disabled in one part or the other, but does not merely need an SEN support. Why is SEN important in the classroom? Being able to support children with special education needs in the classroom is an essential part of any teacher's job. Recent figure shows that in the mainstream setting, you may on average encounter 4 children in every class who require support for special educational need. Research also suggests that the behavior and practice of the classroom teacher has greatest impact on the academic and social outcome of children with special educational need. The child you teach may have just one area of need or combination. Without proper accommodation in place, those barriers could manifest in anxiety, disengagement, frustration, sometimes resulting in challenging behavior within the classroom. That means that no one size fits all to support pupils with special educational need. Let's now move to the 4 broad areas of special educational need and the levels of intervention. We have communication, interaction, cognition and learning, social, emotional, and mental health, sensory, and or physical needs. With these, we have different levels. We know that SEN ranges from mild, medium, and intense. That means the case where the child is suffering from multiple disabilities. Once the child is identified with SEN, an IEP, that's individualized educational plan, is being prepared by the special educational need coordinator that you will then need to factor or integrate into your everyday lesson plan, classroom management. That means we have our own good practices that we have been doing in class during planning lesson, for example, differentiation. Those are examples of good practices. But in addition to that, you need a specific plan for that child suffering from SEN to support that child, to accommodate that child, in addition to your good practices. Let's see an example of a response cycle for supporting children with special education needs. First, when you receive a child with special educational need, you need to assess that child. The period of assessment entails the parent, the teachers, the special educational need coordinator, and the child consent, because when the child is concerned, the child is engaged during the planning process. So there we do what we call diagnostic and assessment. We assess the child's interest, the child's need, and the child's strength. After assessment, we now move to planning. In the planning section, notice that it's not solely depending on the teacher. Integrate the planning with the assistant teacher, the SEN coordinator, and the parent. Here we have long-term plans and we have short-term plans. All of these are taken into account when planning. So after planning, we now move to doing, that's practicing. How to accommodate the child in class. Is it a dyslexia child? Can we use learning lobes? What to incorporate into the session so that it helps that child suffering from a specific aspect in class? Remember that outside our best practices in class, there are other children that will need more to what we do. So that's when we come in with our IEP. The teacher has to follow up the IEP. We then move to review. On the part of review, there are some aspects during review that were short term. If it has been met, it will be kicked off and then another will be added. During review, we'll also see that there are some aspects of the IEP that have not been met that can maybe go throughout the entire year, like helping a child develop fine motor skills. So if it has not been met during the first review, then it can move on up to the entire year. The review can be done monthly, weekly, or per trimester, depending on the need. Okay, what are some of the strategies to support students with additional needs? I think I have as one of my panel a professional who works with special educational need, and she'll come in to tell us more on that.
Wonderful. Sounds great.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hello.
I am Miss Bibe, and I am a psychologist.
Lovely to meet you.
I'm here to talk about some of the strategies to support our students with additional needs. So we can start with what you see, the withdrawal support is one of the, how can you say that? The support we bring to a child when he's inside the classroom. So as inclusion, as far as inclusion is concerned, we take him out of the classroom for some times for some activities. It can be individually or in small groups. We can have the stimulating activities sometimes. So you can stimulate the child alone, as I said, or you put him with his peer. So we have the in-class supports. So we can bring there, you are the one putting or bringing the additional support. You can bring worksheets for him to work inside the classroom. So we also have the team teaching or co-teaching, co-teaching model. There, you can collaborate with another teacher to bring a support to the child. We have the peer tutoring. There, inside the classroom, you have the child working with another student who can help the child to understand what the teacher is explaining or is saying. Yeah, because when it's the peer explaining, he understands well because he will put it in a way, will break down for the child to understand in their terms. Okay, we have integrated planning. The plan of the child according to his IEP. We implement it. We promote inclusion. Here, we educate the children that who are in the classroom. We educate them on how they can behave with their classmates, how to bring the help. Yeah, we can also talk about some how do we say it? When they praise him, when he's doing something good, they can praise him. They have some attitude to express towards him. Okay, we also have motivation. It's part of the praises that we bring. When he does something very good, when a child does something good, when he answers a question, when he shares pencils in the classroom, when he does something good in class, we praise him, we appreciate. Okay, we have explicit teaching with smaller steps. So we break down everything we want him to understand. Yeah, we break it down so that he can easily get it. We have attention and rehearsals. So here we can work with the child. When we prepare a child for an exam, for example, we practice, we do a lot of practice with him, what we are going to do. We rehearse, we work with him before he does the exercise. Tax management boards, we put everything, what we want to do, we put it on the board. He should know that this is what I'm doing right now. So the child, because sometimes they are reluctant to change. Sometimes they don't just want to move from one activity to the other. So you can announce him, you tell him that this is what we are going to do. If you have dropped it on a board, it is easy for you to move from one activity to the other. So we have the writing logs that we can bring visual supports, because we cannot just be reading, but when we bring images, the child can understand easily. It is easy for him to learn. And we have the classroom environment, the way we organize our classroom, the way we decorate the classroom. If we have so many colors, if we disturb the child, his brain is not, it will not be easy, it will not be easy for him to get it, because so many colors will not help him. Yeah. So this is what I wanted to share today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was a really thorough presentation of these strategies. I've got nothing even to add because there's so many of them there and I use a lot of them as well. But thank you so much for your contribution. That's wonderful. Njilefac, I'm going to pass you back to you.
Oh, yes. You're the slide.
There we go.
Hello, Sarah.
I've moved it on. Maybe it hasn't refreshed yet.
No, the former
You want
slide.
Okay, hang on then.
The
Just
former
go back.
slide on strategies. Yeah, I want to add here that placing a CEN child in an with other learners in an inclusive class is very advantageous, not only for that learner alone, but for the entire class. For example, when we do movement, brain breaks in class, it doesn't only benefits that child, but it benefits the entire class. That's an advantage. And also we should focus on subjects like PE, arts and design, well-being, that the child could do better on it, rather than always taking the child out of the class to focus on subjects that the child struggles with, like mathematics, science, language, art. So let's focus on the strength of those children. It's more beneficial for them. I think Mr. Elangwe had something to add about this. Is Mr. Elangwe there?
Yes, Mr. Atem, I'm right here. Thank you for the opportunity. I wanted to add that working with children with additional needs or educational needs, we need to pay attention to their interests, just like you mentioned, irrespective of the subjects they are doing. It's important also to integrate them with the rest of the class. This is going to help them also learn from the other pupils. It's good to work with the pupils' strength. For example, if the child is most interested in creative works or arts, it's good to present materials to them in that aspect. This is going to help the child develop even better cognitively, psychologically, socially, and otherwise. I think all teachers should take up the side of the fact, because we are going inclusive into this educational world. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Elangwe.
That was a great contribution. Thank you very much. I think building relationships with students is really important as well, because that motivates, it encompasses everything that you've all been saying. It motivates our students, it includes our students, they feel that it promotes the inclusion that you've got here on the list. So building relationships is another really good strategy to help support our students. Are you ready to move forward, Njilefac?
Okay. Let's all reflect on this. In what area are you demonstrating good practice with regards to special educational need? What areas would you like to develop further? Where is good practice being demonstrated that can be shared? What are the common areas of development for future continuous professional development focus? How do we empower teachers to contribute to each stage? It's a reflection. So if we have any contribution at this level, we can start giving it out.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Mr.
Boris.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Good afternoon, everyone. And thank you, Ms. Atem and Ms. Hilda Bebe, for the wonderful contribution, as well as Mr. Elangwe. I just want to say that if you follow the trend of our workshops, everything comes in place now. We are talking about inclusion differentiation. If you can apply all the techniques and strategies of an inclusive class, make your classes inclusive, and then your lessons differentiated, then you are able to accommodate these SN learners, special need learners in our classroom. But my worry is the fact that they are in school. How do we assess them? How do we bring them to the same level of assessment so that they can all be given the same status when they are moving from one level to another? Because I know the teaching process is differentiated, but now how do we put them at the same level when they are moving up the academic ladder. Perhaps I would need to get some contribution as a point of reflection as well that I'm adding to your list. And just to say that every child, I want to talk with the context of Cameroon. Most special need learners in Cameroon have been kept aside because the teachers are not equipped with what it takes to manage such learners in the classroom. So I'm just adding my voice to encourage teachers to go for more professional development, and that they should continue to follow Teach 2030 workshops where they are going to be learning insights and more techniques and strategies on how we can manage special need learners. It's actually a concern in our country. Unfortunately, I don't have the time to give you the statistics now, but what you should understand is that in Cameroon, most special need learners have been attributed to witchcraft, bad luck, you know. I mean, it gets just a few who have the opportunity to learn because most people feel that there's nothing that can come out from them. I think we need to change the narratives in most of our schools. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Boris. I think the main problem is accommodation. We might have the intention of educating a child with supporting a child with special educational need, but we don't have the accommodation. As in the case of Cameroon, we don't have the accommodation. Here in my school, we practice inclusion. That's not been easy working with these learners because we came in as just like teachers who have been carrying out good classroom practices, but we are also trained to support students with educational need. But at one level, we find ourselves wanting because they get to a level where we don't longer know how to support them. We don't longer know how, because these children are, as they grow, as they change in different ages, that's how their needs also change. So at each level, you need the accommodation. And if you don't have the resources, it becomes very difficult and they become very disruptive and boring. Remember that I said it ranges from mild, medium to extreme cases where there's violence. So if you cannot even accommodate them, then it's difficult to even bring them in. Most of the time, some parents, what they want for their children is that they want them to develop communication skill, integrate into the society with like other children. But at the end of the day, we see that the child can do more than that, but the parents are always focusing only on one skill, developing one skill. So there's always an issue with the school, the parents, the teachers.
I think you're absolutely right, Njilefac. I have a class at the moment and I have a lot of need, a lot of additional needs.
Platform.
I have a lot of additional needs in my classroom and I do find it challenging, just as you do, to meet the needs of all the students. So I have to make sure that in my planning, as you showed in your diagram, that I'm catering and adapting my tasks to suit them with a variety of maybe using a learning facilitator if I've got one available, or using separate worksheets or task boards that are simplified. Just going back to Boris's contribution about assessment and how do we assess them. In my school, that we take, again, challenging, we take them to separate rooms. They have additional time to complete assessments. Those are some of the strategies that my school use. But again, it is finding space and taking them to separate rooms and having the accommodation for them. It is very challenging, but I think the number of additional needs in the classroom has gone up. It certainly has in the UK, and by the sounds of it, in Cameroon as well. Emmanuel, you've got your hand up. Would you like to contribute?
Yes, thank you very much. I just want to add my voice to the other contributions that have come in already. Adding that the main thing is actually accommodation. And as far as accommodation is concerned, like Boris said, the figures are quite low. but the awareness already is some good practice. And even though inclusive schools are few, we think that there are some good practices coming up already. Like in our school, we already know that we can live in the same classroom, teach and learn in the same classroom with the CEN learners. And they can easily integrate in society when they leave school, when they're out of school. They can communicate with everyone in the society. And those students that are, the learners that are neurotypical, that we put in quotes, that are not CEN per se, they are also educated that, okay, these other learners are different, but you can live in the same classroom with them, even during break and out of school. So that is already a good accommodation strategy, a good practice that is going on. I'm looking at what areas would you like to develop further? I came to a school like a teacher. I'm trained as a teacher. Now I know that, okay, this is an inclusive school. This is what I can do. This is how I can accommodate them, differentiate for them. Sometimes know that their emotional need is different from those of the other learners. I would like to further develop in being able to maybe design an IEP, an individualized learning plan for those learners, so that will maybe set us apart from just being a general Cambridge teacher or educator, being able to maybe design a sketch for a program for them, which is usually reserved for specialists in that field. I think that it is an area I would like to further develop myself in. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Emmanuel. That sounds really interesting, and I wish you luck. I hope that you can move forward with that. It sounds like a great plan. Miss Baby, Lydian, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to add my voice into what they have said. And to add that what helps more is the planning. When you plan well your classroom, it's quite easy for you to implement and to help them more, because you provide everything you will need for that lesson for the child. It's true that there is a time issue, because if you have a period, if you're a teacher and you have a certain time for a class, it is not easy at all. But when you plan, at least you will add more value to what you're doing with the children. And to also add that parents' contribution are, a lot. When a parent contributes, just what Mrs. Njilefac said, when a parent contributes, it helps, it makes the learning easier for the child, because we are all engaged in it. It's the students, the teacher, and the parents. So this is what I wanted to add.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I think that's a really valuable contribution, because it is everyone's involved in the student, not just the teacher. It's the parents, it's a wider community as well. And we all want to support the student towards success. So that's brilliant. Thank you. And I think you're absolutely right as well in planning. Lessons definitely go much more smoothly when you've planned and catered for our SEN students. Njilefac, I'm going to hand over to you. You've done a brilliant presentation today, and we've had some fantastic contributions. But I'll let you finish things off. Can you unmute your microphone? There you go.
It's
Wonderful.
fine. So I think with SEN and additional need, we have to really be patient with these students. And we should also remember, no one size fits all. You can have 4 different students in your class needing support for special educational need, so do not generalize them. Each child is unique, so your support should be very specific when you're working with these learners. And secondly, we also have teacher assistants. Sometimes we call it a shadow in class. One disadvantage of always having the shadow in class is that the learner become very dependent on the shadow, that without the shadow, the learner can't do anything good. So the shadow starts for a while, and during the process, the shadow starts withdrawing. The withdrawal effect start withdrawing gradually until the child can do without a shadow. So I just wanted to add to that.
Absolutely right. Absolutely. Okay, Njilefac, thank you so much. Would anybody like to share anything else at this point, just before we close? Well, in that case, I would like to thank you.
Hi,
Natalie.
Sarah. Yeah, I just wanted to say that part of the support of special needs will be supporting teachers with their personal affairs. In my institution, we do technical and vocational skills, and the School of the Blind wanted, the students there wanted to learn to do makeup. So of course, people thinking School for the Blind wanted to do makeup, but we chose the legally blind students. But I had to support the teachers who were not special needs trained, to let them know it's okay, you can adapt it, and just giving them that support, it turned out to be an excellent class. So the special needs legally blind students were able to learn to apply basic makeup for themselves. And also we had a bread cakes and pastry class. So of course you will have to have them, the measuring cups have to be embossed and different things that you'll have to adapt. But the teachers were willing to go the extra mile because you would have the support, like one of the persons said, but the parents also being there to be able for them to achieve some technical vocational skills. And I also did hair braiding and barbering at the School for the Deaf, but again, we had the translators. So even though the teachers themselves were not special educationally trained, when they knew that they would have some support and they had some encouragement about their lesson planning and adaptation, they were more willing to do so.
Thank you, Natalie. I think that's a really important point, because I find that at my school, we've had quite a few extra students with additional needs arriving at our school. And so my school's put in some training to support us, to help us develop our strategies, our teaching practices, so that we can support all of our students and ensure that we're still being inclusive in the classroom and training us. So yeah, support for the teacher is just as much important as support for the students themselves. Thank you. Great contribution. Anybody else like to contribute? Well, we've had a very detailed workshop today. Njilefac, you've presented beautifully. Thank you so much for hosting and preparing your detailed presentation. Thank you everybody for joining us today. We've had some really inspiring comments, some inspiring and thoughtful discussions. So well done, everybody. Emmanuel, I thought you had your hand up, but thank you very much for the claps. Yeah, brilliant, wonderful. Okay, thanks for joining, and please join us in our next workshop next month as well. I look forward to that one.
What a great workshop. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you for joining. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.